lot more energy in our second debate. I felt really well rested after the nice long nap I had in the first debate.
Now, Al, you are right. A campaign can require a lot of wardrobe changes. Blue jeans in the morning, perhaps, suit for a lunch fundraiser, sport coat for dinner, but it's nice to finally relax and to wear what Ann and I wear around the house.
Self-deprecating moments at last night's quadrennial Al Smith dinner here in New York, where both presidential candidates took some time out to get in some one-liners at each other's expense, but also at their own. But now they're on their way to Florida, and of course, because the road to the White House, what did you expect? It goes through Florida again this year. So candidates are flocking to the Sunshine State, just as polls show electoral votes there are really completely up for grabs. But again, what did you expect? Wall Street Journal's Arian Campo-Flores joins us. He's on the campaign trail. Arian, so let's just break this down again. The importance of Florida, particularly for Romney.
Well, for Romney, Florida is basically must win. I mean, if he were to lose Florida, he would basically have to capture every other battleground state, including Wisconsin, which is a state that Republicans haven't carried in decades. So it's more critical to Romney than it is for Obama. But given that it's the biggest cache of electoral votes among the battleground states, 29 electoral votes, both campaigns are really pulling out the stops right now in the final stretch.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned the importance of some other battlegrounds. We actually have some new polling data this morning about Iowa and Wisconsin. You say that, and it actually shows that President Obama does have a sizable lead there. Now, is it possible, particularly in Wisconsin, that Romney could pick it up, maybe because it's Paul Ryan's home state?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely been the hope of Republicans, and there's been other polling that has actually shown that the margin there much narrower. So, I mean, it remains to be seen. Our poll is very interesting because it basically shows virtually no change from the last time we surveyed those two states in September. A 6-point lead for Obama in Wisconsin and an 8-point lead in Iowa. I don't know, that perhaps suggests that voters there have already heard so many of the messages, they've seen so much of the candidates, they've seen so many of the ads, that there's a lot of them, the vast majority have made up their minds, and there's just a very narrow sliver that's movable. But we're going to see that Midwest area is really hot this week. There's a lot of ads running there, and the campaigns are also focusing intently on that.
Okay, and jumping back to Florida for a second. For Barack Obama, if he lost Florida, how bad would that be for him?
I mean, it would be bad. I mean, obviously they want to carry it, but he has other routes that he could take to victory. I mean, if he were to capture Ohio and then a handful of other states in the Midwest, that would take him to victory. If he were to get Ohio and states further out west, like Colorado and Nevada, that would be another path. He's very competitive in Virginia. So that's another piece of it. So there are different ways. He has more alternatives and more ways of cobbling together the 270 electoral votes than Governor Romney does at this point.
Okay. By the way, when it comes to Florida, really, is there anything that these campaigns can do to set themselves apart at this point? You mentioned in your story, really, it's going to come down to the ground game, which to me it sounds like really, get the volunteers out there making calls, figuring out who your supporters are, and then getting them to the polls.
Right. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, look, the airwaves here are saturated with ads. Both campaigns have spent enormous amounts of money getting their messages out there. That, the race basically has remained deadlocked for months now. So really what it boils down to is getting their voters out. And that's really the mode that the campaigns have moved into. Absentee ballots are already being returned in Florida. Early in-person voting starts in about a week from tomorrow. And so they're really ramping up their operations to get out there, canvass people, knock on doors, call them on the phone, make sure that they get out to the polls. There are a lot of voter mobilization efforts by third-party groups that are getting underway. So that's really where the emphasis of the race in Florida is starting to turn to.
Okay, but by the way, we have the debate in Boca Raton on Monday, which is going to focus on foreign policy. And we should remind viewers to be here. WSJ Live will be carrying that. analysis and commentary from Alan Murray on Monday, so be sure to stay with us for that. Arian, thank you so much for joining us this morning.